No pads yet, but it was still a good practice.
It was cooler. They practiced longer and kind of looked a little more together than they have.
It was a Green Day.
It was Green Day, an hour and a half practice.
Yeah.
Big Green Day.
Oh, that's a band.
Well, we didn't get any Green Day.
We did not on the speakers.
No.
You were lamenting the music a little bit today.
It was pretty bad today. It's pretty bad every day. I put in a request for Tom Petty, but it was not honored.
Keep trying. One day.
Keep trying. Yeah. I'm going to do my 10 worst at the end of the training camp, my 10 worst training camp songs.
You got Shazam a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get into practice.
There was one today. Hugh Douglas was like, man, they're not even cutting out the profanity.
Were they letting it fly?
Yeah, letting it fly.
Oh,
today.
They normally don't do that. They're normally pretty good about taking that out. It was Military Day.
Yeah.
Down in Novacare Complex. Always a fun day.
It is. I think Andy Reid started that like 20 years ago.
Did he? It is fun. It's cool. And today was nice and cool. So it was a good day to be in full getup. Good to see everyone out there. Good crowd. And it's cool at the end of the practice. Players like give their, I guess it's like a raffle, like who gets who.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they set it up.
Yeah.
But it was nice because like they had I guess what would you call it, a gauntlet that they set up for
walking in,
coming in. The players went through and high-fived all the military dudes. It was they do a lot of really cool things for them. It's a nice event. Yeah,
it is nice. They used to do it over at the stadium, which I always thought was really cool because now you're like in the stadium doing it, but still a very cool event. Nice to see everyone out there. Players, they seem to enjoy it too.
I remember when Chad Hall was on the team, and he'd been in the Air Force, and it would be like 2 hours after everyone else had gone in, and he was still like signing autographs and telling stories, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it was neat.
All right, let's get to some observations. Then after the observations, we talked to a bunch of interesting players today. Players we really wanted to talk to, really since the beginning of camp. We got a bunch of those guys. So fun stuff coming later, but let's just go through the observations like we normally do. A few housekeeping items. Good news today, Hassan Reddick back at practice earlier than anticipated. The initial word from the Eagles was not until after the weekend. It is still the weekend. We're recording this on Sunday. He just did individual drills. He was out there stretching, but a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, he's ahead of schedule. So they said he's going to be back Tuesday. He's back Sunday. Good to see him out there.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, in the back of my head with Hassan is always like, he's underpaid. I know he has 2 years left. I'll take him at his word that it's the injury and that's all it is. But in the back of my head, when I didn't see him out there the first day, that was my first thought was like, uh-oh, what's going on here? And then they said, no, he's hurt. And then we saw him out at practice watching it. So
yeah, and I think everyone was saying that when he wasn't out there. It's a contract, but it's good to see him.
Yeah, he has, 2 years left. So.
He does.
Not very like the Eagles to tear up a contract with 2 years left.
It's not.
Good to see him. Avonte Maddox and Derek Barnett also still limited. Avonte Maddox did some more today, though. Was in on some team drills for the first time. Another good step.
Yeah, that's a big step. And, with his injury history, all eyes are going to be on him. Anytime there was one rep where he came up limping a little bit and you're like, all right. But he didn't go in and he didn't go into the inside. He stayed out there and he came back at very quickly.
Yeah.
And actually that's when he came back with the 11s.
Mm-hmm.
And so they need him and they need to find a way to keep him healthy. And that was certainly good because it's like, here we go again with Avonte. Now, this is the same injury that he had the surgery on in February. So it's not like it's a new injury. He's still healing and they're just bringing him along slowly, which is the right thing to do. But anytime you see him limping, it's a red flag, but he's fine.
Yeah. Boston Scott was fine. He was out of practice doing everything. He was one guy I was kind of keeping an eye on from the previous practice. Not that he finished day 2, but whenever you see someone come up with something during a practice, you always keep an eye on them the next day. He was fine. He was out there doing everything. Depth chart stuff.
They're really healthy. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and even like during practice, like we see a few guys like come up limping and you go, oh, is that? No, he's fine. He's back in the huddle.
They can't miss practice tomorrow because there never is practice tomorrow.
It's true.
Next week there'll be 2 in a row.
Yeah, I like the 2 in a row. Safeties, starting safeties today. Reed Blankenship, Terrell Edmonds, Kayvon Wallace rotated in. a little bit later. But for the most part, it has been Blankenship and Edmonds.
By the way, I don't know if this fits in here, but Reed Blankenship's having a really nice camp.
Just steady.
Really, he's a really good player. He's just, he's always in the right place. Yeah, we're doing more depth chart stuff, but
no, that's fine. I'm
going to throw that in there. I think he might be pretty good.
Yeah, and it's funny because he didn't really start to shine last summer until the pads went on. Once the pads went on, we really started to notice him. So it makes sense, though, that year under his belt, he looks like he belongs.
Confidence is off the charts.
Yeah, and we'll see. Sidney Brown started to make some plays a little bit. He's not in my notes today, but started to make some plays. I'm curious to see how long it'll take before he moves up to the twos, and then we'll see if he can take some first-team reps at some point.
I would think he will, and I would think we'll see him with the twos very soon.
Yeah, the twos, for the most part, have been Kayvon Wallace and Justin Evans. Now, Kayvon has been, the last couple of days, has been getting some work with the ones, which is good for Kayvon, and it kind of lets us know the pecking order between those two. But at a certain point, I would think we'll see Sidney move up.
Yeah.
Who do you I guess he would move up over Justin Evans?
I would think so.
Probably. Yeah. Nickel corner, Avonte Maddox, like you mentioned, did get some in 11-on-11s. Before him, it was Zach McPherson with the ones, Josiah Scott with the twos, and then when Avonte went in, McPherson with the twos, Scott with the threes.
Did they bring Zach McPherson out? We were supposed to talk to him.
I did talk to him, yeah.
Did you get some of that? All right, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. But he's playing a ton, and he's only a nickel right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't know if I've seen him make any plays from that spot, but it's early, and he's getting to see legs at a new spot.
And it might not sound like a huge transition, but it's a different position.
It really is. It's the reason the Eagles have a nickels coach this year.
Yeah, and he hasn't done it. He just hasn't played there. So, interesting.
Cam Jurgens at right guard again. I'll keep updating this every day. It looks like this is the way they're running it. It's Cam's job to lose. And maybe unless they have a reason to put Steen in there, they just won't.
Yeah, and Nick keeps saying it's competition, and today Cam's a starter, but 3 days in a row. If it was an open competition, we would have seen Tyler Steen at some point get some reps.
Yeah, he's taken all the second team reps, so it's not like he's not playing, but
it doesn't seem like a competition. Maybe it is.
Long way to go. Interesting note here, Dennis Kelly, who has been at left tackle, played right tackle today. They flipped him and Driscoll, so Driscoll was at left, and you had Dennis Kelly at right tackle. Not surprising, but notable, because one of those guys might end up being the swing tackle, and they didn't have that last year.
No, they had that weird platoon with Driscoll and Dillard. I have a hunch that Dennis Kelly is going to be two-way tackle. I think
two-way makes it sound like he's lining up next to Fletch.
Yeah, he's going to go both ways. Now, right, left. I think it's going that way. We'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, you could also argue it's going that way with Driscoll.
You could, but my gut feeling is going that way with Kelly.
Okay. Do you think there's a chance they only keep one of them? Or do you think they're like, we want to keep Driscoll as a depth piece for every spot, and Dennis Kelly could be the swing tackle?
I mean, Dennis Kelly has played guard as well. Not as much as
he's
Driscoll.
8 foot tall, so.
Yeah. I think they're both going to make the team.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a Howard Mudd thing. He tried to turn Dennis Kelly. I think his rookie year he played for Howard Mudd.
He's just so tall.
Yeah.
He's like 6'7".
Yeah.
He stands up. Jalen's not able to see anyone. Landon Dickerson, this was kind of curious, was getting first team reps and then like halfway through each session getting taken out, and Suapeta was in there. Clearly there's not a competition there. So not that Landon Dickerson will ever tell anyone what kind of injury he's got, but it's clearly something there.
Or Landon's just begging to be benched because his mindset is, I suck. Everyone's better than me. Get Sue in there, get some reps. I don't deserve them.
I don't think that's
would it surprise you.
That would surprise me. Yeah. Ian Book, Tanner McKee still splitting reps at third team quarterback. That's a little closer than I thought it would be. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I think I thought Tanner had a tough day today.
He did. I was really watching his throwing motion, though, in individual drills. I like his throwing motion.
Yeah.
His feet are kind of slow.
His feet are kind of slow, and he's just really locking into the first guy, which, as I think you said on the sideline, is probably normal for, was he 5, a 6? Was he a 6 round pick? Coming in, I mean, it's hard to master this offense this quickly. So he's getting a lot thrown at him.
Mm-hmm.
But he does throw the ball well. He's not at the point where he's really seen the whole field yet.
Yeah, but you watch like his release versus Ian Book, and they're both getting there. His is getting there a lot smoother and easier.
I think that's fair.
Ian, I guess it's just, he's a smaller guy. He's more muscular. He looks bigger, but I mean, it takes all he has to get the ball out there.
It looks that way, right? He's putting everything into every throw.
And McKee can kind of just loft him in there. I think there's more upside with McKee, certainly.
I think that's clear, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not crazy, though. Ian Book was a higher draft pick a few years ago.
That's true, but not here.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell the Saints were thinking, but anyway. I'm not knocking Ian, but, I mean, you don't draft a 6-foot quarterback that high. Drew Brees, I guess they had him. They had pretty good success.
They were like, we got one guy.
They didn't draft him, though. The Chargers did. Anyway.
Jalen's like 6 foot.
Yeah, but he's Jalen.
Yeah.
Is he 6 foot? Is he? Yeah, be more.
They list him at 6'1".
He's 6'2".
You think he's taller than they list him?
He's not 6'2". He's probably 6'1". Yeah. Anyway.
I get a lot of grief for being the Quez guy, but gotta call him like I see him. Big Quez day.
He had a good day.
Yeah.
He had a good day. He showed why he's still here and why they're intrigued by his ability and his traits. He's fast. And he's not just fast, he tracks the ball really well.
Yeah.
And he caught it really well today.
Had a couple of high difficulty catches. One got past Zach McPherson. It was a beautiful throw from Jalen Hurts. Got it between two defenders, probably 25, 30-yard pass down the left sideline. Quez brings it in. And then a little bit later, high points the ball. I think it was against McPherson again. And I thought McPherson had really good coverage, but Quez just high pointed it, went up, got it, got his feet down. And they were kind of wrestling for the ball all the way through the ground contact. And I gave it to Quez. I didn't see the referee. I
think Quez caught it.
Yeah, because I think the ball came out, but it was after they were already on the ground. Two really tough catches. Now he had some others too.
Although if it's Quez, the ref might be like, say it's Quez. He doesn't get that one. It's good to see him battle like that. And I thought that was one of those reps that was really good for both guys.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. I still have Quez ahead of Olamide. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Olamide had a good day too. I don't think he caught the ball at all today. Not that I remember.
I don't remember any.
Yeah, he had a chance at one. We'll get to that in a second. It would have been spectacular. If he made that catch, we'd be talking a little differently today. That'd be the lead of observations. I thought Jalen Hurts was great today.
He was great. And, it occurred to me, I forget who I was standing next to. I said, we never talked about, we're so busy talking about the rookies and the young guys. I mean, he's unbelievable.
Today was his best day.
He was
of
incredible
the three, and
today.
it wasn't like he was great today.
He was great today. And it's just like it's just so much fun to watch him practice. And he's so creative, and he's just, he's out there just having fun and running the offense. And he just looks like a master out there just running this offense right now. And
so the consistency is off the charts right now. Whereas like in previous years, there were all these highs and lows and you could see the potential, but right now it's just being consistently good. And today he was great.
Here's me. I'm sorry. He looks really fast. Does he look a little slimmer to you?
Someone else asked me that. I don't think so. Yeah. I no pads yet. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
I think it looks about the same.
Maybe. When he takes off, even in practice, he's so fluid and so fast, and he just gobbles up ground so quickly.
Yeah. And they ran a few QB draws today, which is it's in practice. I think the defense is like, come on, guys.
Yeah, what are you doing?
We can't even touch him, but that's a play in their playbook, and it's been really effective. And they're going to keep using it. I think that's really important to remember that even though he's got a $255 million contract, they're not going to really use him much differently. He's still going to be a big threat in the run game like we've seen. And it's going to be some design stuff too. It's not just like scramble drill. It's they're gonna scheme some stuff up for him, and he's gonna run at times.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, just it's too bad because it's not going away.
Yeah, and look, I understand like trying to limit exposure to hits when they're not necessary, but they're always going to be kind of battling against that and trying to make sure that you don't lose his uniqueness. He said he's leaning into it. You don't want to lose that because that's what makes him a special player right now.
Although, I mean, I think there'll be games where I think there were a couple last year where he just doesn't run at all, and he's still incredibly effective, and just the threat of him running is a weapon.
Yeah, but you have to do it a certain amount.
Sure, and he will. There's no doubt.
Yeah. The other thing about him, his scrambling, it's really funny because most quarterbacks in a training camp practice, when they start scrambling, you go, well, this is stupid. What are we doing? Like, even if they complete a pass, this isn't going to happen in a real game.
Yeah.
But with him, sometimes you're like, well, maybe, sometimes he's going to force teams to cover for 5 seconds. Yeah. And he did that a little bit today. And it's like, there's no one near him. He's fast. There was one play in particular, the Alameda play. He rolled left. The play was designed to the left. There was nothing there. It was good defense, bottled up. He rolls all the way to the right, unleashes a throw of like 40 yards downfield. It was great coverage by Bradbury on that side, but Zacchaeus dove for the ball, couldn't come up. It would have been a spectacular catch.
It was a really fun rep.
There was a guy behind me. I think you were next to me at that point.
I was in the corner right by the play.
Yeah. But there was a guy behind me like, got to catch that. And I was like, that would have been like a highlight reel catch.
It was a hell of an attempt. Bradbury was great on that play.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, just Jalen, to me, was the star of that play because he's creating opportunity. It's a scramble drill with a new player that he hasn't played with before, which is, scramble drill is a real thing. There are rules to it, like we've learned over the last couple of years. Yeah. So Alameda is catching up a little bit, learning how to play with him.
Yeah, well, some of us learned those rules when Randall was here.
Well, Alameda probably wasn't born when Randall was here, so he's catching up.
That's fair.
Yeah. We've talked so much about DeAndre Swift catching the ball. I got to do it again. There was a beautiful play today. Jalen Hurts drops back, wheel route from Swift down the left sideline, tight coverage to the point where might have been DPI. He fights through the contact. It looked like he only had use of one arm for a while. It was a receiver catch.
It was. And he catches the ball like a receiver. Maybe not quite like a receiver, but he's got that fluidity to his game as a receiver that you just rarely see in running backs. Westbrook had it. A few guys had it. Keith Byers had it, but he's so natural.
It's been a while since we've seen a running back just run a wheel like that. Miles did a little bit his rookie year. Yeah. Able to get some space with him.
Yeah, they had good success with it briefly, and it just kind of went away.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's really one of the big themes of this training camp is throwing to the back. So we're seeing it. We saw Rashad Penny catch the ball. I think he's got like 27 catches in 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's something that if you're going to be a back on this roster, you're going to have to catch the ball.
Yeah, and it's something that Sirianni talked about when they hired him, and we just haven't seen it. Like he talked about that was going to be a part of their offense. You look back at Indianapolis when they had Nyheim Hines.
Yeah.
And even when they drafted Kenny Gainwell, we thought, okay, Kenny Gainwell is going to be the Nyheim Hines of this offense. And it just never really materialized like that.
Yeah. And it's just more options, more different. I mean, just what this offense needs, more ways to beat you.
Yeah. You got to keep evolving.
But the more I see Swift, and again, the usual caveat, pads aren't on yet. We talk about who's going to have the most touches, who's going to have the most carries. I mean, Swift does things that the other backs can't do. Gainwell's a good receiver, but DeAndre Swift is. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I don't want to make any predictions yet, but I mean, it just looks like he's the guy in their minds. Like he's going to get the biggest workload just because of his versatility and his ability. I feel that.
I'm not completely there yet.
Okay, I am.
Okay, you're there. You said you weren't making predictions. Like I'm there. I'm ready to say.
Well, I mean, numerical, like how many touches, how many carries, how many catches.
Yeah, I think he's the favorite to get the most touches because of that receiving ability. But I don't think it's going to be like one guy way ahead of the others.
I think it might be. I think like he might have as many touches as the next two combined.
Oh, I don't think that. Okay.
Like Swift equals Gainwell plus Penny.
Okay, I don't think
that.
Yeah, it's a very divisive topic. I don't know if you've like just chatted with people about the running back position and how people think it's going to break down. I'm with you on Swift, but I'm not completely sold on it. Like I think it seems like you're more sold on him than me because I still think they really like Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah, I do too. And I think Gainwell's going to have a role. And look, I mean, I'm just throwing those numbers out there, but I do think there'll be a gap between Swift and whoever's next.
Interesting.
But we'll see. It's going to be fun to keep an eye on it, certainly.
And people are very divided on who, like some people are Gainwell people, some people are Swift people.
Yeah.
Probably some Penny folks out there.
A lot of Sermonites. A lot of Sermonites out there. Sunday sermon today.
Nakobe Dean. Haven't seen a ton of flash plays. Really, I wouldn't even call this a flash play, but I did notice one play of his today. Good play recognition, saw a receiver screen coming, and the Eagles were actually, I don't know if you noticed this, in early individual, they were really practicing receiver screens, all those bubbles, not just bubbles, but receiver screens and rub routes a little bit. But seeing Britton Covey out there, and he identified it real quickly, got there. And if that's a play where if they're in pads, you want to see the collision. I think it would have been a violent play. Obviously, they're not hitting right now, so he two-hand touches him and the play's over. But that's the type of play where I think, once the pads go on, or if it's like a live situation, I think it would have been a play where everyone went, "Oh, there's Nakobe Dean."
You hope so, and of course, we've seen Britton Covey on the wrong end of a lot of those collisions.
Yeah.
He seems to specialize in
bit of a crash test dummy.
That's 2 pods in a row we've mentioned. That was my karaoke song.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a different context.
Yeah, same words, though.
Sure.
Britton Covey said, everybody, what did he say last year to me? It's like, everybody thinks I'm this tackling dummy out there. Well, you kind of are.
Yeah, it's got to be fun to hit because he just goes flying.
Yeah. I thought Nakobe made 2 plays that kind of stood out today. That one, and there was another one in coverage, and I can't even remember who he was with, but because my notebook's over there, it's not doing me any good right now. But I thought he was a little more active today. But again, I don't think anyone would be surprised if when the pads go on, he starts showing up.
Yeah, I hope so. Because like last year, there weren't a lot of splash plays from him, which is understandable in his role, like as a rookie last year. But they need him from him this year.
They sure do.
He's their best linebacker, and we don't know how good he is.
We think he's their best linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's the best linebacker.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's not like there's a ton of other guys fighting for that.
If Christian Ellis makes the Pro Bowl, I'm going to remind you of this conversation.
Why don't we put him in Canton? Devontae Smith, still very good. Sometimes we don't want to lose sight of the players who are just really good.
Yeah.
And he's a special player. That one body control catch he had on the right sideline, it's a special play. He was one-on-one against James Bradbury, leaps into the air, somehow double taps his feet, and it was on the far side, so I couldn't see with my own eyes.
It was a good thing the refs were there.
Refs were there. They ruled him in, and yeah, I'm probably gonna think he caught that ball.
Yeah. From where we were, you couldn't see, but the ref was right there, and it was a hell of a play. It was vintage Devontae. It's what he does best, that body control on the sideline. I mean, that's like kind of his trademark.
Yeah, I think it is now.
Yeah. So it was that was a fun rep.
And then a few plays later, he caught a wide open touchdown. It was some kind of defensive breakdown. He was wide open.
Yeah. That one got the crowd going.
AJ was wide open too on the other side.
Yeah.
So either way, they were going to get a touchdown out of that. What else do I have here? One-on-ones. Still no offensive line, defensive line.
Yeah.
One-on-ones, which are my favorite part of camp. And I do remember last year, even before they put the pads on, they did them. So I'm hoping maybe next practice we'll start to see some O-line, D-line one-on-ones. And then as much as I like them, it's really difficult because you have them on one field, receivers and DBs on the other. And I try to watch both, and I watch nothing. So then I have to focus on one or the other. But one-on-ones today between receivers and corners. A.J. Brown had a really nice comeback route against Darius Slay. And Slay had good coverage. It's just AJ's quickness gets overlooked at times.
That's true.
He's a big dude. You don't think about him running in tight areas, but he's very good at the footwork aspect.
It's the notion that AJ and Devontae can both get even better is scary. But
And it's true.
It's true.
Next throw, Hurts under through Devontae a little bit. James Bradbury, nice pass breakup. Bradbury just
had a really good day. He's had a really good few days.
Good few days, just super solid, professional, just super professional.
Never takes a snap off.
No.
Yeah.
And we saw that from him last summer too,
Yeah.
but just always very steady. The rep we talked about where Maddox limped a little bit, it was after a one-on-one, kept speed with Quez Watkins down the sideline, which is not easy.
Yeah.
And Quez has some height on him, but Avante climbed him and knocked that ball down.
Yeah, it was a nice play. That was a fun rep too. The one you didn't mention was Tyree Cleveland right in front of us.
I have it.
Oh, do you have it? I thought you didn't have it. All right,
No,
my bad.
From Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His only good pass today.
Yeah, probably true. Deep ball, dropped it in there, dropped it in the bucket. I thought it was pretty good coverage from Kai Gardner.
Yeah.
But beautiful play.
It was a great catch. Play of the day for me.
What did Garner say after that?
I'm not allowed to say.
Oh, okay.
But it was right in front of you. I don't know how you missed it. There was a little profanity as he ran back toward the huddle, right in front of Dave, and Dave missed it. I don't know how.
I was probably.
It's something I say to you all the time.
Yeah, maybe I just tuned it
Maybe
out.
you thought it was me.
I have a few little notes on defense here. Moro Ojomo had a little sack working with the third team against Ian Book. I heard he was really excited for this practice. He knew he was going to get to talk to me afterwards. So a little extra juice.
Can we promote that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
This is really fun.
Yeah, I do it every year. People are probably familiar with it by now. My Surviving Camp series, where I basically talk to a rookie once a week throughout the summer and kind of follow their progress and get to know them a little bit and let fans get to know that player a little bit. Ojomo is my player this year. So that first one will be coming out soon and hope to do that throughout the summer. I've had a pretty good track record.
Yeah, who are some of the guys you've done?
Jordan Mailata, TJ Edwards, Kyron Johnson. All made the team.
Yeah.
All had roles.
Yeah. That's a good group. 2
of them became starters and big money guys.
Yeah. Ojomo's an interesting guy. 7th round pick from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Probably earmarked for the practice squad, but
I don't know that.
We'll see.
I don't know that. He could beat out Contavious Street.
He could.
Who I haven't really noticed.
No. Ojomo's interesting guy. Smart. I'm looking forward to reading those.
Yeah. Josh Sweat.
Very smart kid.
Mm-hmm. Josh Sweat had a sack. Working against they're all in parentheses because they're not touching the quarterback, but against Jack Driscoll. So, we talked about Driscoll at left tackle a little bit before. I don't think that's his best position.
No.
Especially against a guy like Sweat, who is a monster. That's tough. And then Bradbury had an interception. We mentioned he had a good day. It was a bad throw. I don't know if it was a bad throw. It was a miscommunication. Something went wrong because he threw it right at him.
It's not like there was a receiver turning the wrong way or anything. There's nobody in the area.
Yeah, it was a weird play.
He just threw it right to Bradbury.
Yeah, it wasn't a great day for Mariota.
It was not.
He said 1 of 3 days was good.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought day 2 was good.
I'm a little concerned about it.
Are you?
A little bit.
I'd
like to see a little more.
10-year vet.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't need him to be great in practice. Developmental period at the end. Keely Ringo. Joseph Ngata, rookie from Clemson. I thought Keely had good position on a deep ball, and Ngata just went up and got it over him. It was a big-time play.
Yeah, it was a great catch. And Ngata, I think we mentioned him a couple of days ago. He's the guy that Nick has been getting on. We saw it in OTAs, I think, and we saw it day 1 of practice. Mm-hmm. And when you see that, it means they like him.
Not a bad thing.
You're not going to waste your breath on a guy who's got no shot. He's got good size. It was a heck of a catch he made. Man, it's a shame we don't video that.
Yeah, and all these plays we talk about are after. I should mention that more.
Yeah.
There's no video of them because it's after we're allowed to no longer shoot. So got to take our word for it.
But that was one of those reps I thought was good for both guys. I thought Ringo was right there.
And then Ringo came back the next play, had good coverage. Pass fell incomplete. So against Deion Kane. Yeah.
Who's having a good couple days too.
He's been solid. You can tell he has some experience. Him and Tyree Cleveland, they've played. They've been around for a while. They've been professionals, and that kind of it gives you a little leg up. But Ngata is starting to flash a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Got to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm. Did you see my stupid observation?
No, I was intentionally not looking at it until we got down to it.
Okay, so my stupid observation of the day on Military Day, I was at the end of the end zone, and the Eagles' defensive players in practice have white jerseys, and the letters or the numbers on them for Military Day are like a really light camo, and I can't read any of these numbers. And then it dawned on me that if they're camouflage numbers, they're doing their job.
That's right. It's a good observation.
It's a good one, right?
Very stupid.
That's all we aim to do. Catch all the sports action and more at Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Whether it's the money line or the pass line, there's something for everyone in a great sports book. Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Philly loves a winner. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In addition to me finally getting to talk to Mauro Jomo, a bunch of players after practice, Nick Sirianni before practice. Let's start with Nick real quick. Was there anything from him that stood out to you?
I mean, the one thing, and we've talked about this ad infinitum, is just thrown to the backs has been such a big theme. And he had one interesting quote about how, why haven't you done it in the past? Why haven't you run screens? And he's like, well, we're going to run what our players are good at. So it was basically a knock on Miles and his declining receiving ability over the year. I mean, he wasn't here when Miles caught 50 passes, but Miles' receiving skill set seemed to decline each year. They just didn't have backs to throw to, and Gainwell a little bit, but he wasn't playing that much. So I think the fact that they now have backs who can catch the ball, mainly Swift, it's going to be a bigger part of the offense, and it's just going to make it more dangerous. But that was a notable quote.
Yeah,
basically saying we didn't have the people to run it, so we didn't run it.
And it's fair. I mean,
yeah.
Nick's always been big on creating his offense around what the guys do, and if he doesn't think his guys can catch the ball out of the backfield, he's not going to run it.
True. There wasn't a lot else from him.
No, I asked him about your theory, actually.
Yeah,
that it was a very calculated, angry Sirianni for the first couple of days. He was like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was. I believe it was.
A little truth serum.
Yeah,
maybe he's doing it subconsciously.
Could be. It could be, but it just seems so just like, all right, we went to the Super Bowl. It's our first couple of practices. Guys are jumping off sides. The whole theme is you have to put in the work each day to even be in a position to get back there. And there were some sloppy snaps, and he had the bullhorn out, for crying out loud. So, yeah, but either way, it's good to see him do it.
Yeah. A few other players we spoke to after practice, a bunch of Bulldogs, which is not surprising. Knowing this team, kind of interesting to have a Philly Dogs group chat. All the guys keep in touch all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all really close. It's not just like we all went to the same college and we're here now. They're really close. They talk to each other every day. They look out for each other. Jordan Davis was saying, if any of these guys need somebody to watch their dog, I'm here for them.
Yeah, a few of them have dogs. They all hang out together, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Davis had one of my favorite quotes of the summer so far about Bulldogs, because he doesn't have a bulldog. I'm like, would you get a bulldog? And he's like, no, that's like having another grown man walking around the house.
Yeah, eating all your food. And what did he say? Yeah, something like that. But they are very close. They lean on each other. Look, it's hard to come in. I mean, none of these guys have ever been to Philly before. Obviously Jordan and Kobe, but the rookies, they haven't been here before. They don't know anyone. They don't know where to live, where to shop, where to go out. And now you have two guys that they're best friends with kind of guiding them along. And Jordan said, I didn't have that when I got here. And it was funny because he goes, Fletch and BG, but like everything's changed since they were rookies. Like, so, and it's true. I mean,
BG's telling him about the old CBA practices.
Yeah, BG's probably talking about restaurants that have been closed for 10 years, but it really is a big deal. And they all hang out together. They talk every day. Jordan was at the store in Delaware, he said, and he texted all the guys and said, "Hey, you guys need any clothes, need any shoes? Come on down here." It's cool. It's a cool thing. It still blows my mind that they have 5 young defensive guys, and DeAndre Swift's a Georgia guy too, but young guys, first and second year on the defense, who are all going to play significant roles. Maybe not Keeley immediately, but it's a cool thing. And I think they all, coming from Georgia, it's not like they're all from, like, I don't want to dog a certain college. It's not like they're all from like North Dakota State. Is that a bad example?
Yeah.
It's not like they're all from Minnesota or Ohio University. They all play for 2-time national champs, or at least one of them, and a place where they had that kind of that kind of approach, and they took it seriously. And Coach Smart really instilled the culture that the Eagles have in those guys in Athens, and they're just carrying it over. So it's not foreign to them. They're just doing it in a different place, and they've all been prepared for this and trained for this, and they're all ready for it. And it's going to be really interesting to see what level they get to in the NFL.
How do you feel about cities that name their city after a more famous version of it, like Athens, Georgia, London, Ontario? There's a Philadelphia, Mississippi?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I know there's a Marlton, British Columbia.
Is there?
No. I don't. It doesn't. I never really thought one way or the other about it. It doesn't bother me.
It's weird to me.
Athens is a great town, though.
Georgia,
Georgia. I've never been to Athens, Greece. Okay. I went to Athens, Georgia, to see Robert Pollard's first solo concert.
There's a Paris, Tennessee, I believe.
Yeah, it does.
Berlin, New Jersey.
There is Berlin, New Jersey.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Was that named after Berlin, Germany?
I don't know.
Did it used to be East Berlin and West Berlin?
It had a wall, right down by the circle.
Right through, Kmart.
Let's go into Jordan Davis a little bit. He's been a player. I think fans are I can tell, like, when there's a lot of hype around a player, fans are very excited for year 2 of Jordan Davis. And I think they should be.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we had a good talk with him today. He talked about his conditioning, and which a lot of his teammates have talked about, not just defensive guys, but offensive guys, and just how much more effective he seems. He said he didn't lose any weight.
Which surprised me.
Me too.
Because he looks slimmer to me.
But he said it's just conditioning. He says not really, but he said he's still 340. I think 340 to 345. Yeah. But he said it's not the number, it's the conditioning. And he said
honestly, that's an even better sign.
I think so.
Like, if he were to be like, yeah, I'm 325 now, you go, well,
right.
We want you to be big. You're supposed to be big.
Yeah, that's right. He said, now when he's out there for 5 straight reps, it's like no big deal, which that's huge because he's going to play. I mean, like, they don't really have a backup nose. I don't know who. It'll be somebody, whether it's Tumi Pelotu or Noah Ellis. I don't know, but I mean, he might play 65% of the snaps.
Mm-hmm. I think the encouraging thing is we've seen him in 4 down, which he didn't really do last year. Now, ultimately, like, I still think he's going to be off the field on 3rd downs because they have enough guys to rush the passer.
Yeah.
So maybe, like, from that perspective, we have to temper our expectations. He's probably not going to be like a big sack guy all of a sudden in year 2, but you just want to see incremental growth with those things as a pass rusher, especially.
Yeah, and I thought he was okay against the run last year. Pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
But he can be better.
He can be better. And, like, look, they were better with Linval.
Yeah.
Which Linval is a good player. Linval is a good player. They also signed him off the street. So,
although he kind of faded after
a little bit.
Yeah, late in the season.
But I also think we got robbed of seeing the best version of Jordan Davis as a rookie because of that injury.
Yeah, and he talked about that. I think I asked him about it. He didn't really exactly answer the question, but he kind of did. He was never the same after that. Mm-hmm. He just wasn't. And he also talked about being accountable for the injury and how he connected his overall fitness level to getting his ankle hurt, which was interesting to me because you think of an ankle as being more of a freak thing, but in his mind, if he was in better shape, he doesn't hurt his ankle. So, if he can play 17 games, that'd be huge.
Yeah. How about some of the other guys? You talked to Nolan Smith a little bit.
Wow, what a piece of work he is. And Probably about 40% of his words are repeatable on the podcast, but he's just so fired up to get the pads on, and I can't tell you what he said, but it was,
which is really funny because I wonder if he hears some of it, because like we're talking about him. I'm not just saying he hears us, but like people are saying like, yeah, he's a 240-pound edge rusher without pads on. He better look good. Like I wonder if he takes some. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna look good when the pads come on too.
Maybe. He talked about how he had heard from older players who came back to Georgia about how when you get to the NFL, the older players aren't going to want to help you. You're on your own. They're going to protect their turf. They want to keep playing. They want to extend their careers. He said day one, guys are coming up to him saying, whatever you need, open door policy. We're all here for one goal, and that's the team. He said day one. He said it made him feel so like I'm in the right place. This is the place for me, because he said, I don't care if I don't get any sacks. It's all about the team. I'm here to help the team win, whatever it takes. And I think all these guys share that mentality, but he was really surprised how much the veterans have helped him. And he said it wasn't just the defensive guys. He said my first rep, he said Lane killed me, and then he came over and he's like told me, hey, try doing this, and this. He's like, that's Lane Johnson. It's like, he's like, I didn't expect that. He said, I didn't expect those guys to help me the way they did. He said, it's helped already make me a better player.
Yeah. When he's gone against the ones, it's been mostly Lane. He's been on the left side of the line. So I'm curious to see if he'll get some reps on Mailata, because that could be, if he gets around Mailata, he has a chance to get home. But if Mailata gets his hands on him, he's probably going to throw him 12 feet.
Right. I mean, those guys have 100 pounds on them. But he's getting better, and I think he's in a good situation where, and he even said, expectations of me are low. I mean, I'm just coming in, and we got Hassan, we got Sweat, we got BG. He said, I'm just here to learn, and when my number gets called, go out there and play hard. But he's got a ton of energy, a ton of enthusiasm, and I think he's going to be a player.
Yeah. A few other players. We talked to Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift a little bit. I didn't hear a lot of Swift. You heard some of Penny?
Yeah, and I asked him about, like, in this offense, it seems like there's going to be a real emphasis on throwing to the backs, and he's got 27 career catches, 5 years.
Yeah.
That's 5.4 per year.
Thanks.
I think, right? 5.4. But he said, I can catch the ball. I've never been asked to. He said, but I'm comfortable catching it. I think we saw him catch a couple today. He looked okay.
He's caught a few. I haven't seen any issues. It doesn't look as smooth as Swift or Gainwell, but he's catching them.
But he's never done it before. And Swift looks really comfortable doing it. But and I think, like you said on Friday, you don't want to be in a situation where if Penny's out there, they're running. If Swift's out there, they're throwing. You can't be predictable. So everyone's got to be able to do everything, and I think that's been a big emphasis.
Zach McPherson.
I didn't hear any of them. You were over there.
I was over there. He feels pretty comfortable at the nickel. He said actually last year they started getting him some practice reps, like during the season when they were having injuries inside. So it's not completely new to him, and they let him know pretty early this offseason that he'd be playing there. So it's nothing like. There's no shock to him. So
interesting. Of course, these are practices that we wouldn't have been at. They're closed.
Yeah, throughout during the season last year. So he feels pretty good there. He thinks maybe there's more of an opportunity for him to get on the field. And I mean, the problem with this team at corner has been it's funny that there might be more of an opportunity behind the younger Avonte Maddox than there is behind two 30-year-old outside corners. But the reality is Avonte just hasn't been healthy, so there might be.
And they just drafted Keeley, and and Greedy Williams is here. Mm-hmm. There's the path to the field for Zach McPherson is definitely through the slot at this point.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, every time he's gotten out there outside, he's looked fine.
Yeah.
And it's just strange that 2 years ago it was Slay. Slay had a great year 2 years ago. He should have got more Defensive Player of the Year looks, but it was him and Steven Nelson didn't leave the field. And last year, Slay was pretty healthy again, and Bradbury played every game. So there just wasn't. It's funny they've had these old corners in front of them who don't get hurt.
Now, I don't think this means Zach McPherson is going to be a slot his whole career either. Mm-hmm. I mean, if this is where he does end up, if he's on the roster, which is looking like he will be, he can, he's going to be valuable because he can do both.
Mm-hmm. Last one, Dennis Kelly.
Good chat with Dennis Kelly. Talked about how much it was really interesting. I asked him about, because his first three was for his rookie year was Howard Mudd year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Howard Mudd 2012. And then he had Stout for 3 years before he got traded. And he said that the lessons I learned from Stout, even though I was only with him through 2016, I took them with me the rest of my career. He said the stuff I learned from him is stuff that I applied when I was, when I was with the Titans and elsewhere. Stout has that effect on people. I mean, it's incredible listening to people talk about Jeff Stoutland and what he's meant to their careers. He said he wasn't sure if he wanted to play. He said, I didn't want to just go somewhere to play. Only wanted to go somewhere if it was the right situation, if we were competitive, if it was a good team. And he said, this obviously is. But he said, until he had an offer from the Eagles, he wasn't sure he was going to play. He said, I prepared like I was training, I was preparing, I was getting ready in case I got that call. So he said, it's not like I'm not in shape, but he said, I knew there was a chance I wouldn't play if I didn't get the right opportunity.
It's weird. It has to be weird for him. I asked him about that, but it's weird for me seeing him. Like, you haven't seen this guy in a long time. And he kind of looks the same, and he's back here.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of the
hair's a little different.
One of the Lehigh guys.
Yeah.
One of the few Lehigh guys. Interesting. He said, he's a good player. I mean, he's a good backup to have around, and he can do a lot of things. He's versatile. He could play guard if he had to. Probably won't. But yeah, it's good to have him back. And, I mean, he and Kelsey and Lane were all young guys coming into the league together. And he said he followed their careers. They all kept in touch. And, he used to joke maybe one day we'll play again together. But it's a good football move. It's not, I mean, Howie loves bringing guys back. I was trying to think of the longest gap between being here and coming back.
Yeah. It's a pretty long gap.
Yeah, it's a pretty long gap, 7 years. Yeah.
Anything else?
It's good to see Mike Mamula today.
Mm-hmm.
He was at practice and appreciated us giving him a shout out on I think it was our last pod we talked about, or the one before that or something. I don't know. But yeah, good practice today. Can't wait. Hopefully the pads go on. We don't know. It's the first week they're not allowed to have pads.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Tuesday counts because they reported Tuesday.
I'm thinking the way Nick acted like he had never heard of pads when we asked him about it.
He really did. Yeah. Pads?
I'm thinking maybe Thursday.
Maybe not at all.
I think so. At some point there will be pads on.
Well, Thursday, Friday would be good. If they pad up both days.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Or at least one of those days.
Yeah.
Eagles released their Kelly Green. So just a little PSA. If you want to buy that stuff, they're going on sale 9 a.m. Monday at the pro shops. A bunch of people are excited about that.
And I'm not, because I could not care less.
I
just don't care.
I know. And you
Ricky's with me. Ricky Bo's with me.
I don't know if that's the side you want to be on.
I know, that's a fair point. But Ricky Bo's like, why does everyone care about the uniform so much? Who cares?
People like them. I don't care either way. I don't want to kill other people's joy.
No, I'm not doing that. For me, I just don't care.
You like to announce that you don't care.
I don't mind it.
All right. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, whether or not you like Kelly Green, please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button, subscribe there as well. That's it for Reuben on Dave. This has been Eagle Eye. We'll talk to you soon.